folks, and welcome to this episode of Telling Tinder Tales, the podcast where people from all over the world tell their interesting dating stories. With me, Chris O'Neill.
And me, Thomasin Lockwood.
Thanks very much for joining us today.
On today's episode, we have two guests calling in to tell us their tales, and then we'll ask them some questions about it.
So, Thomasin, who have we got today?
So, calling in today, we have Alex from Nottingham.
Hello, I'm Alex. I'm from Nottingham. I'm originally from the northeast.
Lovely. And Iga from Cardiff.
Hello, everyone. So I'm actually from Poland, but I currently live and study in Cardiff.
Very good. Excellent.
Welcome all.
Alex, have you a story?
I do. So I had been single for a very long time, and one of my good friends decided I should go on Tinder. Now, people who make you a Tinder profile are not your friends. And what he did was he got the whole setting up. He made me pose in all these different things that I would never normally do, and then put it out into the world and helped me reply to some messages. So I got a few dates with assistance, then a few without. But one that stuck with me for a while was I went on a first date with someone, and they said, if someone wears red shoes, that's a red flag, and that's it. So on the second date, I wore red shoes, and there was no third date.
Oh.
But the most ridiculous one was, so I was teaching chemistry and physics at the time, and this person I matched with was a biochemist. It said in their bio. Brilliant. We match on that. We got on chatting. She's a nerd. I'm a nerd. On paper, we were going to last. We were going to go the distance. And our first date was the summer of 2016. We went on a Pokemon Go date. We were going up the banks of the River Tyne, catching Pokemon, stopping off in bars, having a few drinks, and then going to see where the night will take us. Back to mine, as it would happen. And after, we're cuddling and saying, she says to me, what do you do? So I teach chemistry and physics. What do you do? I said, I'm an escort. At which point I panicked, going, is there an invoice going to be dropping on my mat? Surely some of this is not going to be included in the price.
Oh my God.
And we dated for a while, and she got quite jealous of one of the projects I was doing. So I was doing a research project on when you're vaping, so what you're taking into the lungs. It's not going to be just the vegetable oil that's in the e-liquid. We wanted to see what it was. So me and a colleague, we sort of created this robotic lung, which is essentially just a bong with a vacuum filter on it. And it collected all this e-liquid. We were going to analyze that and see what it produced. So she was jealous of the toys that I was playing with. On that exact same day, she was going to have a threesome. So I was jealous of the toys she was going to be playing with as well. But
Wow.
one of the things that ended things was when I went to hers for the first time. In her room, there was just a wall of lizards. And I don't know what it would be like with another partner there, but honestly, having the hundreds of beady eyes watching you was very off-putting. So I was just like, I can't do this. And then I got spooned by a bearded dragon and I was out. That was it. Done. And the last interaction I had with her, she came back to mine to collect some bits that she'd left from there throughout the course of everything. And as she left, she stole my doormat.
What?
She
Is that the end of the
stole
story?
Your
That's the end of it. That's the
doormat.
last.
Okay.
She stole my doormat.
So she's okay. I have to ask a question in regard to the doormat.
Yes.
Had it anything written on it?
It was a Batman doormat.
Okay, I have this image that mat is somehow a sex toy somewhere now.
Somewhere in the northeast of England, I would not be shocked.
Thomasin,
Wow.
have you any questions?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just the way you ended that story, it felt like a cliffhanger of like, and then she stole my doormat. And you're like, wait, like I'm waiting for like the next part. First of all, I just want to say, I think with dating sex workers, right, that can be like a huge deal breaker for people. It can also be a taboo. And I think sometimes people really dehumanize sex workers. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you for not making that the punchline. And I think it's quite wholesome, the fact that it ended over lizards and doormats, as opposed to like I think that's nice. I think I'm sure we have more questions about that, but I want to start with the date you mentioned where you said you wore red shoes on the third date, was it?
Yeah.
Are you sure that's the reason why there wasn't another date?
Well, to be honest, everything was going well. We'd had good chemistry and everything had clicked, and it was just going to be, I'll see you later. And it was a really nice. Things were progressing nice and slowly. It was all just really like a wholesome thing. And the date was all going fine, and it was just right at the end. It says, I'll see you soon. And as soon as you clocked the red shoes, that was it. Ghosted, blocked, done.
So what could you describe her face as when she saw the red shoes?
It's just, it had gone from being so happy, smiley, and just then to stony-faced. What is wrong with you? Why would you do that? You absolute monster.
What shade of red were the shoes?
They were bright red. They were like proper. They weren't just
like
red.
Clown
they were red
shoes.
They were clown Converse, essentially. They were the brightest ones in the shop. I like bright coloured shoes, and it's just because I can get away with them at work, and I just like that little bit of colour from coming out for the personality.
You know what they say? You can never wear the wrong shoes for the right person.
That's what I thought, because we'd had such a nice time. The 2 dates we'd had been really lovely, and yeah, no, shoes were a deal breaker.
Ika, do you have any questions for Alex?
Yeah, this story, it reminded me a bit about there was an episode of a show, How I Met Your Mother. I'm not sure if you guys have watched it, where Barney Stinson, he was dating a stripper. But he was being like so cool about it. Like he was like, wow, I'm dating a stripper. That's so amazing. But anyway, I want to ask you, like, do you know if she was getting like paid well?
She genuinely, was getting paid.
Just asking.
She was getting paid more. She got paid more for that than I was as a teacher. I have been working in education for 12 years now, and I'm convinced she is still earning more than me.
Oh, wow.
It's the oldest profession.
That's interesting. I'll let my friend know that it's a good.
Yeah. We're talking 6 figures, or yeah.
I don't know. She was just saying about like the hourly rate that she charged, and for some people it wasn't even a sex thing. For some people, it's just she'd come over and just spend time with them, just talking, and it's just really sweet. And for that, she'd be getting paid £120 an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I'm sat in a lab with no windows with a robot smoking a vape. And I'm wondering who's
Wait,
really...
Now, is the experiment seeing the effect of vapes on robots, or is that like your little psychic pal?
So what I wanted to see was what is in the e-liquid when we breathe it in, because we've said that the vegetable oil, the glycerin, is going to be completely harmless, and it is. But we're running that over a catalyst at about 300 degrees when we're breathing in the smoke. So what's in that smoke? And this is 2016. I was doing this project, me and my colleague Dave, and we produced the graph and we saw the different elements that were in there. One of them's benzene, so it's highly carcinogenic. And we were able to prove a link between vaping and lung cancer in 2016. And we published the paper, and nothing happened. We thought this would be a massive bombshell thing to a fledgling industry, and nothing happened.
Oh, God,
it's since
that's
been
scary.
picked up and it's running now, but it's from other studies. But that one then, it's taken about 9 years before it's been properly looked into. But
wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Maybe you'll get a belated Nobel Prize. You never know.
Or at least some gold shoes.
I'd just like a doormat, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's a strange one. Anyway.
I have one more question, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I want to know more about whether you were using hyperbole for being spooned by a bearded lizard.
I am not. I am being literal. I also have autism, and I'm quite literal with quite a few things. And I
Okay.
was spooned by a bearded dragon.
Oh
Now-
my god.
Now, was it?
His name was Beardy, and he gives amazing cuddles. I think he was just after me for my body heat.
How did he get on the bed?
I don't know. I hadn't noticed he was
What
in the
do you
room because I'm also not very. He was a massive bearded dragon, and I had no idea he was there. I was just lying there, and the next thing you know, there's just this head, like hello, and it was just frightening.
So, like this little lizard paw.
That's not a
I don't know
little
what you
lizard.
call
it's
it,
a
like,
big lizard.
Just this thing comes round and just holds onto you, and just looks at you.
Are they cold?
They are cold.
Do they
It was like a
blink?
very. He just stared at me. I didn't really want to stick around to see him. But honestly, it looked like if a bearded dragon could have come to bed eyes, he did.
Oh my god.
So, Alex, the original profile said biochemist, and that interested you. Did she ever explain that?
It did. So in her profile, she said she was a biochemist, and she had worked as a biochemist for a short time in a lab, but the work was just, she found it a bit dull. The pay was poor. STEM does not pay well, unfortunately,
Mm.
whereas her new profession was significantly more. And also, I think the job that she was doing was quite tedious. It was just doing a lot of pipetting over and over again. So taking small amounts of liquid, putting them into other amounts of liquid all day, every day.
In a way, isn't that also sex work?
I was going to say, yeah. Perhaps variable amounts of liquid, but nevertheless.
Right. Any more questions for Alex? Ika, anything?
I have one more question. If she didn't tell you that she's working as an escort, like, would you realize that, like, after some times of, dating, like, from her lifestyle, like, would you tell? Or maybe, like, from her profiles on Instagram or something that, oh, this girl looks like an escort or something?
Honestly, no.
No.
It was just a normal, nerdy individual. It was a really wholesome relationship, and she was just a really lovely person. And yeah, it was a nice time.
Oh, wow. Because I'm just asking because we have this. I went to school with that one girl, and now, like, sometimes me and my ex colleagues, we talk about her because she's posting like such a like fancy lifestyle, like on her Instagram, that she's on some like fancy parties, fancy that, and then something like, and we think she's an escort, but we don't want to ask her, like, hey, like, what are you doing after so many years after school? Like, do you work as an escort?
Yeah, from all of her lifestyle, basically it was just working, saving her money, looking after lizards, the bearded dragon, going to Comic-Con, meeting all these different celebrities, and that was her lifestyle, and it was quite nice.
It's so interesting, right? Because in terms of emancipation from men and having the means to make our own money, it's been a long road for women. So historically, you have three options, right? You were either born into money, you married money, or you slept with money. Those were kind of like your three best bets.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know any girl who hasn't at any point when they've been in a bit of financial struggle thought, I could just sell some pictures of my feet.
Yeah.
Maybe people would. I can't. My feet are busted. No one wants that. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting story. Thank you so much for sharing that, Alex.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
So, Iga, have you a story for us? And can you share it with us, please?
Yes, please. I do have a story. When I finished my first long-term and serious relationship, then I was thinking, right, if my life was a film or a book, is it the moment, is it the chapter of my life when I'm starting all these crazy things that you date people on Tinder, you go party, you hook up? I was like, is it that moment now since I finished something really serious? I don't know. So it took me a few months, actually, many months actually, to start even thinking about that. And now we're going back to 2 years ago. I was living in Spain. It was like an exchange year from university, and it was a big event at the beach where all city they go to the beach, they party on all night. It's like a bonfire, barbecue. It's a celebration, like welcoming the summer. So there's a big party every year in Spain. So I remember 20% of that night, unfortunately. But I remember after that night, I was following some guy like on my Instagram, but I didn't know who is that. I just know I followed him on that night, and then the year was passing, and I could always watch his story, and I was like, okay, who is this guy? Why do I even follow this person? But I did not unfollow him because we shared a lot of friends in common. So I was like, okay, probably met him for 3 seconds somewhere, and I followed them. And I went back to Spain for the same party the year after, to meet with friends, do it again. And then I see this guy. So I go to him, I'm like, hey, why do I follow you? Who are you? And he's looking at me like, Iga, what do you mean, who am I? Like, yeah, who are you? Like, and then he told me that last year on the beach, like, I was teaching him salsa, and then we made out, and that's why we shared Instagrams. No recall, not like, because sometimes you don't remember something, but someone would tell you that, and you're like, okay, now I do remember. No, nothing. I'm like, have you got pictures? No, so I don't remember. So anyway, the night was passing, and it was a nice party, and he was a nice guy actually. I was like, what a shame, I don't remember. And then we ended up on that night, we hooked up at the beach. So a year before that, we only made out, we only kissed. So a year after, one step forward.
Amazing.
One step forward. But the thing is, it wasn't just a night like at the beach. It was the night when all the city is there. So it was impossible to find a quiet spot. So there were literally people like, having drinks next to us. It was pitch black, but still. And I kept telling him, I don't think it's a good idea. And he was like, no, don't worry. Like tonight, just everyone does it at the beach. Everyone does it. Nobody cares. I'm like, I haven't seen anyone doing it at the beach now. Show me one person. No, but anyway, we did it very quickly, and we went back to the group. We went back to the group to continue the night, because the night wasn't finished. And then the night was slowly like finishing. People were like leaving. So on the way back, like he was waiting for me, of course, because I lost all of my friends at some point. I don't know what happened. And on as you leave the beach, there was like a park, and like a port park things. And so we did a round 2 in that park. And then he thought we are heading to his house, and I'm like, but we already hooked up. Why would I go to your house now? No, I was like, okay, maybe I'll see you next year. Bye. So this year I plan to go to that party once again.
Oh,
Amazing.
We'll see. There's this film, I don't know if you've seen it. It's a film called This Time Next Year. And they did like a few versions of that. It's a bit similar thing.
Thank you very much for sharing that tale. That was amazing. I love how it's become an annual affair, you and this guy. And it keeps upping the ante, like first year kissing, second year hooking up, next year marriage, right? I really enjoy it. My question is, if you sort of, you recognize things in common from the Instagram but couldn't quite place them, is there any reason why you didn't run into him throughout the rest of the year?
Right. So when I first met him, it was literally my one last month living in Spain before I had to go back to the UK. So I literally, after that party, I've never seen him. Second time I saw him was the same day next year, literally.
Yeah, there's
Nice.
definitely a rom-com in there somewhere, all right.
But
Yeah.
we have so many friends in common. And then I would ask my friends from there, like, hey, do you know him? And they were like, of course I know him. You don't know him?
See.
Apparently everyone knows him, but not me.
You do now.
Yeah, it's because everyone's doing it on the beach.
I have to say, just my first reaction is we've had a couple of times when people have told stories and we were wondering about what would we like to have the other person on. This is definitely an instance where I'd love to have the other person on to tell their side of the story. I think it'll be fascinating to say the least. So, Iga, what brought you to Spain to study?
So I was mostly studying audiovisual translation, like subtitling, voiceover between Spanish and between English, and also translation and interpreting.
Nice.
Impressive. Okay, we can get you to do this episode or this series in a foreign language. Dub it or something. That'll be excellent. Very good. Okay, so Alex, have you any questions for Iga?
I have. How were you able to teach him salsa when you were that drunk?
Quite a few steps.
That's a question for him if he would have been here, actually. No, but I think even when I'm drunk, I'm pretty good, maybe. Or maybe he was lying,
Clearly.
Maybe it never happened, actually.
Well, my question is, do you salsa dance? Or did that just come out of nowhere?
So I'm a salsa dancer and also bachata. So this is,
Oh, very nice.
yeah.
And bachata, am I right in thinking bachata's a bit sexier?
Yeah,
Like you're
it's
quite
more
close.
sensual, exactly. It's more sensual than salsa is much more energetic and pam, pam, pam. So on the sand, I'm not sure how I did that, but like I said, maybe he made this all up since I don't remember anything.
He could have told you anything.
Exactly.
He'd like, do you remember when you said you'd lend me £200? Do you remember that? Have you ever picked up anyone in your salsa or bachata classes, or is that kind of we were just here for the dance, this was nothing more?
I like that question a lot. So there are people that actually go salsa dancing and bachata to date, like to find someone that they could date and to flirt with people.
Can you tell them easily?
Yes. I see, like, I would see other classes, like especially men, like I see that they're not so interested into learning what are we doing here, but they would, chat to that one, that girl, and that girl, and that girl. My ex-boyfriend was also a dancer, bachata, and I said to myself, never again. Like, I don't want anyone from that field because it's just too much to deal with. There's too much jealousy, too much also competition, because you end up trying to be better than your partner, like who's the better dancer, you or me? No, so I would not go into salsa bachata for dating. Just it's a thing that I try to keep professional, and dating guys that have no relation to that.
I want
Fair
them to be two
Okay.
left feet.
Yeah.
Stay away from beaches.
Please.
And don't own a bearded dragon.
Great morals of the story.
Honestly,
Yes.
I could never try and pull someone dancing because I honestly look like a giraffe that's been thrown into a pond.
Why is that giraffe wearing red shoes?
Yeah, exactly.
A flamboyant giraffe.
Oh,
Okay. So, yeah, I think we should dance off into the sunset. Have you guys got anything to plug that you want to share with us, Alex?
Yes, I have. I've got my Instagram, which is AlexWattComedian. So you can follow me and see where I'm going to be most of the time across the East Midlands, but I'm hopefully going to be performing somewhere else around the country soon.
Very good. Excellent.
Thank you.
And Iga?
Yes, if you want to follow me on my Instagram, it's Iga y Vuelta, YVUELTA.
thank you.
And if you
Good.
want to see
Okay.
my dancing journey, everything is there.
Fab. All those details will be in the show notes. Thank you so much to our guests. Thank you very much for listening. If you liked listening to the podcast today, please give us a 5-star review and give us a follow. As an up-and-coming podcast, it really makes a difference for us being pushed on the algorithm and getting out there. If you give us 5 stars, I will get drunk and teach you salsa. If you give us 1 star, I will steal your doormat.
In the show notes, there will be details of the live show as it happens around at various festivals. And please keep an eye out for that. And you can turn up and take part. So thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Telling Tinder Tales is hosted and produced by me, Chris O'Neill, and Thomasin Lockwood. Produced and edited by Lucy Regan, with music by Kinkas Moreira. It's a Jesters Comedy Dublin production and is no way affiliated with or endorsed by Tinder. If you have a story to tell, please get in touch. Details are in the show notes. And if you like us, instead of swiping right, follow us on Instagram and or TikTok at Telling Tinder Tales.